Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now January 16th of 2024, and there's been a lot of things happening across all divisions over at Disney. One of the big ones, of course, being Marvel Studios, as they are placing all bets and really view the upcoming Deadpool 3 film as their saving grace for 2024 to make a decent profit in the movie theaters. Now, given that there's been a lot of drama happening between Ryan Reynolds and the rest of the writers like Paul Wernick and Reese going up against the Disney heads over creative differences for the third act of the film, things are getting even uglier when it comes to the third Deadpool film in this back and forth fight between the creatives and the Disney heads, of course, including Bob Iger, the CEO. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So I think that we could all agree here that the MCU has been in shambles for a very long time now. The latest movie, The Marvels, which failed at the box office back in November to December. And let's not forget about the latest Echo series, which had a very anticlimactic part of the show. And that's really not working well with a lot of fans out there, let alone the Agatha series is not looking too bright either. Now, 2025 is going to be full of expensive failures, and that's just a given fact. I mean, Captain America 4 is already going through a lot of issues as we speak, and Fantastic Four as well. We'll talk more about that in the months to come. But what's interesting about all of this has a lot to do with Ryan Reynolds and exactly why he recently got in serious trouble by Disney, and how it involves a specific actress/cameo. Let's get into all of this now. Now, with the Deadpool 3 drama only getting worse between those like Ryan Reynolds and Bob Iger over at Disney, one major development has to do with Ryan in recent days, who actually got himself into trouble after making a massive request for Disney based on the first Deadpool film. As it turns out, one crucial update to the ongoing drama is that Ryan Reynolds recently pushed Disney in one of their latest meetings with the creatives to insert and bring back actress Gina Carano to return in the form of a cameo as Angel Dust. Additional filming for the movie is set to take place around late March leading into April, even after principal photography is planned to end by next month so far. Reynolds recently pushed Bob Iger and the rest at Disney to either use never-before-seen deleted scenes from the first film of Angel Dust to somehow bring back the character by Gina Carano, or to have Gina return entirely to film a short and dedicated cameo for the character, which is what Ryan Reynolds actually would rather have above all else. This recently turned into a massive argument since Carano was fired back in early 2021 from Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm and all things Disney after making social media posts at Twitter at the time. Now, reportedly, there was a big back-and-forth argument between the writers, including Ryan, for Deadpool 3, and especially for Ryan and how he was standing up for Gina Carano against the Disney heads, and it did indeed lead to some consequences, where specific creative freedoms were recently stripped from Ryan in the process of making these arguments for the rest of the principal photography stage. This was all an ongoing argument for a couple of days following the creative meeting with Disney after Ryan was desperately trying to bring back Angel Dust as a character. Now, these arguments all came in the wake of how Disney was pushing the idea to do a full-on recast, and Reynolds did not agree with that approach. That led Ryan losing specific creative freedoms over the filming of the third act. Surprisingly, even Hugh Jackman was standing up for Gina Carano to return, and much of the cast and crew as well, that had worked with Ryan before with the past two films. However, Disney remained stubborn, and Gina is not returning as Angel Dust, though Disney is still pushing for the concept of doing a brief recast of the character, for last-minute pickup shots to be done in a couple of months to throw the character in there. The Deadpool 3 writers are refusing to do so. Now guys, let me just pause here quick. Now, you can only imagine what kind of ramifications are going to be coming out of this. Now, already Ryan losing some creative freedoms, the specifics of that we're not quite sure exactly, but it is said to be quite significant in certain areas of production. But what's interesting about this is the fact that Ryan was sticking up for Gina Carano and sticking up for the character Angel Dust, which, by the way, Ryan Reynolds was very passionate about that character, you know, making that character one of the villains in the first movie and really kind of establishing that. And let's face it, I mean, that was the one big movie where Gina really began to get her roles in films and such that really made her, stand out to that type of fandom, right? To the comic book followers, and then eventually into The Mandalorian with the Star Wars followers. But what's really interesting about this is that you now have a scenario where you've got Ryan standing up for Gina Carano, an actress which, by the way, Disney resents. I mean, they want nothing to do with her ever again, and there were moments, a couple of months ago we talked about this, where Bob Iger and the rest of Disney, they were getting very desperate to bring her back for Mando Season 4 or a Mandalorian movie, which has now been confirmed, something that we talked about a while ago, and Gina refused. And good for her on that, I mean, really standing her ground and defending her own self-respect there. But in this scenario, they didn't want her back because they probably feel they don't need her to really make this movie do well in their mind. So I could see why Ryan is really just deeply upset and quite frustrated over Disney being so stubborn and really not allowing a short cameo of her to return in the movie. But let's move on. Now, this is the latest example of Ryan not getting things done his way for the movie, which he was promised by Disney months ago, that he would hold a much, of course, creative power as he pleased for most of the film that have now only been downgraded completely for Ryan, as more negotiations are underway to settle the film straight. All of the drama is only creating a bigger chance of the film getting delayed until the fall of this year from its current July release date window. So again, I mean, this is a prime example that Ryan Reynolds is a passionate creator. This is a guy that likes to stand up for his own work. And you know what? This is kind of reminding me of George Lucas in a way, where they promised specific, aspects that Disney would respect and allow to be inserted into films or TV shows, whatever have you, and then they did the complete opposite. So here you have Disney and Ryan, who agreed with each other a while ago. We're talking about over a year ago, actually, at this point in time, where they said, all right, you have all the creative power that you need with Rhett, Reese, and Paul Wernick for the most part, and with the exception of how Disney would be able to do some of their own things thrown in there. All of that slowly diminished over time, if you have realized. So that's why the third act is all compromised, that's why it's all in shambles, and why this movie sadly has the potential to start off good, but end off bad. I know a lot of people thought the same with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but I think that at the end of the day, this movie, as long as they keep standing their ground and pushing Disney and demanding Disney to do the right thing, given that they have caved already to certain demands by Ryan, there's a good chance that they could dodge all of the DEI nonsense that is being forced in to the third act of the film for pickup shots and for specific reshoots that they are planning out already before they drop this thing in July. I still don't know how they're going to get this thing done by July or release it into theaters. On top of that, by also marketing it, it's going to be a very tight squeeze. But I would like to hear what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.